meeting of the Conway Selectboard. If I call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda, vote to approve the minutes of April 6th, 2026.
Looked them over, looks good as always. I will make a motion to approve those minutes.
That was a great meeting.
There was nothing.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but I read the meeting minutes.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye,
Meetings attended by select board members.
none since last.
Same for me. I don't see anyone here for public comments. No unfinished business. So we do have a joint meeting with finance at 6:10, but we're gonna wait till we have a quorum of your committee, right?
Yes.
Are we voting tonight on these or are we just?
No,
voting?
no, no, no,
Okay.
no, there's a lot of decisions
Okay,
that
that's
still
what-
need
yeah.
to be made, so. Yeah,
So we're not going over the National Grid thing, or is that just mail?
that is mail and we can definitely go over that, absolutely. Yeah, I think I did manage to get it on the agenda as mail.
I mean, not much to go over. It's the same thing. They're changing the lattice, the monopole. They're increasing the height because the voltage needs to be higher. They're also running optical ground wire, which is a misnomer. It's not actually on the ground. Yeah,
Okay,
so it's a wire that they string along with the power cables, and it allows for like smart controls. You could also use it for like bandwidth stuff. I don't know if they would. Having optical next to electric like that's not really a good idea, but it's what they say they're doing. They said something about potential tree cutting. I don't see that happening because it's the same right of way that they've always had, and the same distance is needed with the lattice towers between lattice and monopole. Lattice goes like this, monopole straight. So
so you don't think it'll have a big impact on Conway?
the look, it's gonna be a little taller, but you know, I think it's like 12 feet taller or something like that. But it's gonna trade one ugly for another ugly. So anyway, not much more to say about it.
So you got a form.
Yes. I make a motion to commence the finance committee. Motion to approve. Minutes of 3:30. Motion to approve the minutes of the March 30th joint finance meeting with the select board. Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Okay, where do we want to begin?
Do you want to do your reserve fund transfer?
I feel you voted.
No, no,
This is a different one.
This is a different one?
this is from the Council on Aging. That's what, I don't recall this.
We did one for assistant treasurer.
That's
You
my
did-
assistant treasurer.
You did
Right,
assistant
right.
treasurer, and during the budget discussion, you doubled the amount going into their general fund line, but this is different to help pay for the clinics this year, it's my understanding. Because she sent a budget with that, which I think I already up to them. Okay.
So there's we go ahead and do this. This is a request reserve from the transfer from the reserve fund. In the amount of $2,500. We're transferring to the Council on Aging from the general reserve fund. And this would be for the purpose of increased demand for the service of the Council on Aging. Covering the fiscal year 26. Any questions? Okay.
This is going to be transferred for purpose until June, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Any further discussion?
No,
You make a motion to approve. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I'm not sure how you guys want to approach this. I have a lot of information in front of you and some decisions that will need to be made. Real quick, I just want to update you that we had a meeting with the Hills today, talking about the transition. And of course, I had forgotten we're gonna need to have a general fund line item for the Festival of the Hills Omnibus. We're only gonna ask for $100, just as a placeholder. And I'm not sure how much it's gonna take us at least a year going back and forth to see where things should be, but the bulk of the money is gonna be going into, a special revenue fund. So donations and all the revenue, everything's going into that. That's what, got passed at town meeting a couple of years ago when we put in the home rule legislation, and that did get passed by the Attorney General. So we're good with setting that up finally.
Okay.
Yeah, so that shouldn't be a problem. So we met today with our treasurer, the accountant, the chair of Festival of the Hills, and the treasurer, and just kind of hashed out a lot of this stuff. So right now, I think they have about $31,000, but they haven't done their scholarships yet. And they usually give up between $4,000 and $10,000 in scholarships, depending on the need and number of students and all. So when that's done, then they're gonna transfer the money directly to the town into the special revenue fund.
Okay.
And then we can go from there. So there will be, I don't have the number yet from our accountant, but there will be a new line in the omnibus, somewhere in the 600s that says Festival of the Hills, and this will be $100 as a placeholder.
I'd recommend we start with the free cash lines
Anyway, you
and
wanna go?
then look
Yep.
for alternative, areas for funding.
Yeah. So the thing I have there with the free cash does not unfortunately yet include the streetlights, because I just found out today roughly how much we need to put into the warrant for covering the rest of the project for converting the streetlights.
Okay.
It's gonna be somewhere between $7,000 and $14,000.
So you also don't have in here 75,000 for the
Oh, yeah, I should explain
grammar
that.
school.
Correct. So, yeah, let me explain with the draft warrant. What I did was I left in the articles from last year just to show you what we transferred to different stabilization funds. And I think I sent you all an email with something to think about. I know everybody voted to just keep 250 in free cash, but if you put it into a stabilization account, you're gonna make a lot more interest on it and you're still gonna have the money. So I just wanted to throw that out there as something to think about, because right as it stands now, nothing is being put into any of the stabilization funds. And you
The
can
vote was primarily to make sure that we always have a emergency fund.
Right.
So I personally feel, let's look at 250,000, even if we got a measly 2% on that, it would still be $5,000. That's $5,003.
Yeah.
You know, and more likely it would be more than that, right? It would be probably closer to 5%, which is 12,500. And that's for the smallest amount, 250. We have 620,000 in there right now. So the return on that's huge. So I don't think we should be throwing away free money. And that we should definitely put that into an account where we can get interest back.
Yeah, it's fine, as long as we have access to it, ready access to it.
Right.
Well, this was the problem before. It changed a few years ago that it used to be all the stabilization accounts, you had to have a 2/3 vote to remove any funds. As it stands now, only the general stabilization requires the 2/3. So it's still the same vote now from free cash or stabilization. That, in other words, you just need the majority. So it's just as accessible to you. Because town meeting still has to vote free cash, either what,
Right.
and the
Is that
same
just a vote in these two committees, or do we have to take that?
No,
down?
it's a town meeting.
for both for free cash and for anything like that, town meeting has to appropriate it. So either way, it's only as accessible as
I'm not
town
asking
meeting.
about
Oh.
that. I'm asking about if we decide, no, we should definitely put this in the general stabilization. Do we still have to get a town vote to move free cash to general
No,
stabilization?
well, yes, we'd have to have a warrant
Yeah.
article. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yep, yeah. And that's why if you look at the, key account balances of all articles pass,
Yes.
and you can see, as a matter of fact, I think one of the numbers is wrong there. Sorry, the highway stabilization, it says after Hingham Town Meeting 0, it should say 25,000. Sorry about that. But you can see that our capital stabilization is really low. It's only 100,000.
Right.
We only have 25,000 in highway stabilization.
And we have what? 330,000 that they're requesting? All plus the debt service, so. $340,000 on the articles.
Oh, for the free cash?
Yeah.
Yes, where did that go? Yeah. So, so that's the question, I guess, is that, and also I think we discussed before that general stabilization, what did you say on it? Should have 3 to 5%?
That's the general budget.
So, so those are just things to think about if you wanted to move some funds. And again, in the draft warrant, I just left highlighted the articles from last year that shows what you moved last year and where. Now, I don't think you need to put anything in the ambulance reserve right now.
Well, the ambulance reserve or ambulance stabilization.
I'm sorry, the ambulance stabilization. Yeah, not the receipts. But like I said, capital and highway are, very, very low. So just a thought, something to ponder. But we will need an extra, where's the free cash? As it stands right now, before the streetlights go in there, your ending balance, if you reserve the 250, is $5,014.
So let's say 20,000. If we add 14,000 for the streetlights. So we need to find 20,000 elsewhere.
Well, no, that's a positive. The
Oh, it's a
5,000. That's
positive.
Yes, it's just red ink, but it's not
Oh,
really
that's right.
red ink.
It's not a
It's not a-
negative.
If you know on Excel, it's
Yeah, sorry. No, that's the positive. So you would need another what would that be? 2 to 10,000.
10,000. Yeah, so
But that's gonna be all of our, that means that's it. That's
That
free
means you only
cash.
have 240,000 left because you reserved 250.
and that 10,000 would have been interest.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If all that money was in it.
So the motions would basically be for all of these items that we want to take from free cash, and then another motion to move the remaining balance of free cash to a general stabilization fund.
Well, pick any of the
You're gonna have to
stabilizations.
pull out of the capital for one of the highway
Oh,
vehicles.
yeah.
You
that's
see what I'm
true.
saying? So make a vote to say 10,000 from the capital,
Why do we have to take out of that?
because you don't have enough free cash.
Yeah, you've got
Yeah,
25.
no, yes, it's right there. 100,000, 230,000.
The ending balance when we have streetlights is gonna be over by.
Oh, I see. Well,
Yes.
yeah, but you could vote to take it out of the 250 you're reserving. That's up to you. It's up to you how you want to do it. I'm just saying that,
Okay.
I'm saying we don't have enough money for everything there. Plus, you probably want to put some in stabilizations. So that's things to think about how you want to go about that.
I mean, having said that we want to reserve at least 250,000, like, I feel like our first thing should not be to then say, okay, we're only gonna put 200,000 away. I mean, we were pretty,
Yep,
pretty thoughtful about that amount.
but we still need another 10,000.
We would have to make another, not to get into the weeds here, but if we did take a vote to move out of the free cash into general stabilization, we still need to make sure that we have another vote that says in general stabilization, we never go below 250.
Well, we don't.
Or the, you know what I mean?
Well, this is what I'm confused about the numbers here. It says after an annual town meeting, we're gonna have 338,000 in general stabilization.
Yes, because you have not voted to put in or take anything. So that's what it's, the starting balance is, that's what the ending balance is.
And are we saying that we're gonna use general stabilization to our balance? Is that what we're suggesting?
No, well, I'm looking forward to two things. One, we don't have enough out of free cash to cover everything that's needed in this warrant.
If we keep the
Maybe keep the-
right, which is another question, why does it say after town meeting it's gonna be 365,000?
Which one? Oh, that's how much you have to use, but then you gotta look at the free cash balance. Sorry, that was, yeah. That's how much you have there. That's the 619 minus the
So I have
250.
to decode all of this first, okay.
Yeah, sorry. I know it's a lot, but so your free cash would only be 5,014. That's what's in there right
And
now.
that's not including what Chris is talking about, the streetlights.
Correct,
So we know it's gonna be negative.
correct.
But we could take, how much do we have in highway stabilization? We could take,
Well, I've got a question. We've still got 338,000 in general stabilization.
Mhm.
I mean, does that meet our requirements? We thought of 250. I mean, are we trying to keep 250 on top of 338 if we put it? Well, general stabilization, you said needs a 2/3 vote.
General stabilization needs a 2/3, and I don't think you all voted on it, but your guideline was to keep the BLS recommended of 3 to 5% of
Free cash. Yeah.
no,
Total
a budget of
budget.
the total
The total
budget in
budget.
general stabilization as like your main reserve.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Which
So
is-
that's your savings account. That's your big savings account
Yeah.
is general stabilization reserve.
So what you're saying is then the 250, well, we could put into a different stabilization fund because we don't need a 2/3 majority. in order
Right,
to access
and you can
that
split it
capital.
up. You could put some
And
in
we can-
highway, some in capital. You don't have to put 250 in one thing. Right now is 6 million. Well, if what we've got there.
Is that here?
Yeah,
6,341,000.
yeah, 939.
Yeah.
So that's under 200,000, 190,000 for 3%. I mean, we can do better than that, obviously. 5% would be 317,000.
So basically your general is good.
Yeah,
You can leave the general is like a nice amount.
So there we go.
And you've got,
can't afford it.
and you've got fire truck stabilization.
Right.
200,000 is what Chief Herman has told me needs to come out for the fire truck, but there's still 216,000 left in there.
Right.
Now, you can leave that in there to build interest for the next fire truck.
Yes.
I'm just saying, I'm just pointing out what's left.
Yeah, got it.
But again, you only have 25,000 in highway stabilization and 100,000 in capital. And I know it's gonna be 2 years before the capital hits again, really, but that doesn't, if we don't put anything away now, you're still only gonna have.
Well,
So
maybe-
do we
could
have-
we-
sorry.
I was gonna say, I mean, well, could we we're not gonna need another fire truck for another 15 years probably, so could we take 100 out of fire truck stabilization, and put that into general capital?
These are the choices you have to make.
We still get interest on that though.
Right,
Yeah,
And then on the fire.
Yeah.
So I want to remove it only because like, I think the precedent should be never to get in the position we were before. That we always just build up those accounts.
I think the only issue here, I mean, a stabilization fund is a stabilization fund for all intents and purposes. But the question becomes the political issue of moving money from the fire truck fund to some other use. Which, it's not like everybody's gonna view them all as accessible
Right.
for any purpose whatsoever.
Yeah.
That becomes the challenge.
and I can tell you the chief would prefer to.
Of course, and I think it's smart for us to do, because we know
There's
we've got
options.
another truck coming down.
Yes.
Yeah, the optics behind it.
Yeah.
about trying to get the trucks with.
Yeah, so I wouldn't pull any money out of that fund. I mean, to me, it's more a question of where do we put with 250?
Right, so I think we have one of two options to go with here, right? We either have full, if we're 10,000 short, we pull one of these on here from a different fund. Or we go back and vote and say, the free cash doesn't need to be 250,000, the capital stabilization needs to be 317,000 or whatever,
Yeah.
5% of the
Yeah.
total annual budget.
Yeah.
So it's one of those two things.
Well, I mean, we could pull 10,000 out of highway stabilization, because we've got 25,000, right? Is that's what's still left here? Or
Why we've still got 250 in free cash?
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with
I don't
that.
understand why we're talking about taking money. The
Yeah,
question is,
yeah.
where do we put the balance of the 250 after we pay
Into
for all
the,
the
into the
services?
statement general.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll just mention that, over the last several years, especially when we've gotten our free cash certified, it's been higher than I think what we have anticipated. So I'm more confident taking money out of free cash to stabilize.
so the next question is, what's the amount of free cash that we would feel comfortable having on hand?
So let's just go even back further. Why do we need free cash?
Well, that's a great
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If we still need a town
Yeah.
vote to spend it,
Yeah,
it's equally accessible regardless of whether it's in stabilization. or
right,
cash.
why do we even need free cash?
That's why I brought up the idea of having it earn interest instead of sitting
Yeah.
in the general
Yeah,
fund.
okay.
But I understand too, I mean, I thought when the vote happened, the thought was you wanted to make sure you were starting the next fiscal with at least 250,000.
Do all towns have a free cash account?
Yes, and yes,
Well, because the state certifies.
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, clearly there's some legal aspect to this.
Yeah, that's part of,
yeah.
that's part of the
right, so,
process.
so as your budget's closed out, that's why it can't be certified until October, because the previous fiscal year has to be closed out. You have to see if you've gotten excess, receipts coming in revenue. And that's.
No more bills.
And then right, and obviously, so two things, one, you can't budget to the penny because you have no idea what's gonna happen, so each department has to budget a little bit more. Whatever's left over goes to free cash. With the revenues, our practice has always been to really conservatively estimate the revenues, because you really don't wanna overestimate and then fall short.
Yeah, we've been good about that.
Yeah, which means you get a nice amount, it's probably usually 100,000 or so that comes back, because we got the revenues in. But the flip side of that is we've gotten used to having a lot of free cash to use for our articles. I mean, look at this year, we had almost 900,000 and we used so much of it in special town meeting for health insurance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now, anyway, so, but these are the questions that you all have to decide how you want. I'm just pointing out that I think it would make more sense to take some of this free cash, put it in the stabilization, whichever
Well,
one you want.
that's what this says, is like the common uses are capital improvement projects, stabilization fund deposits, that's the second.
Yep.
Reducing tax rates and unforeseen emergency expenses, so it makes sense to put it into stabilization.
If we're gonna get interest for sure.
Yeah.
Still not understanding. If I don't understand the advantage of free cash over a general stabilization, if you need to make the same votes to be able to use that money.
Well, so free cash comes back to you every year and you have to decide what you're gonna do with it, because it's basically things that we taxed the public on the year before.
Yeah,
Which
The
sometimes
leftover,
people don't
yeah.
understand that you're always gonna have some kind of leftover. And then you have to decide what you're gonna do with it. So my only point was that rather than letting it sit there and roll over to the
Yeah.
next fiscal
We've
year.
got that, I think we've got that.
Right, but I'm not
an
quite sure what
emergency
you're.
happens. Something happens where
Right.
something breaks or whatever, some emergency happens where us as a town needs to get quick cash.
But we can't just write a check though. We
Right.
have to get a vote.
Right.
Yes, you have to have a
Right.
special town
Yeah,
meeting, but,
stabilization is
Well, but that would be the
two-thirds.
But
case
don't-
even if it's in free cash,
right, but don't forget that between July 1st and October, when it's certified, you can't touch the free cash.
Which
That's
tells me
sitting
is there's a disadvantage in using than having a free cash account. That's yet another reason not to have money in a
But-
free cash account.
Oh, you mean to move it somewhere else?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
So I'm just,
I agree.
I mean, but going back to the optics, I mean, I feel like people are so used to saying free cash. I mean, I feel like that might be like a bit of a sell to explain like why, like, we don't have free cash anymore. Like now we have I mean, I think it's just gonna sound different to people. We just said.
My
Well,
thought
who's
about-
gonna get free cash?
My thought about free cash is then people saying, well, that means we got tax.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's difficult because people, that's the impression they get. It's
Oh, yeah.
not really the cap.
Right.
So, and I understand, and sometimes when you go to special revenue. Well, yeah,
Well, you have a comment?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, this running balance. Maybe I missed something, I don't know. Have we ever in recent history run it down this low? This is before this stuff comes in, the revenue comes in, but have we ever got to this?
the first year I was here, I think I took it down to like 17,000 and that was it. But you actually have two hundred
But
fifty-five
the top
thousand.
line
Yeah,
is,
this
is
counts
the
with-
reserve, 250,000, what we have skimmed right off the top.
Yeah, we don't
Stay
touch
in
it.
the account.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's what we're discussing right now.
Oh,
What do we do with
okay.
that 250? Do we move it to a stabilization?
I think we move it to stabilization.
Oh,
It just seems like
yeah.
a no-brainer.
Never mind.
I did too. I think we
No,
should-
it's fine. It's fine.
I think we should add that as an article, and it's a pretty easy discussion with the residents. Do you want the money to make money for you or not?
Well, all you need to
Right.
do, so this is why I highlighted in the draft warrant. You did this last year. You took $75,000 from free cash to put in the Conway Grammar School stabilization. You took 75 and put it in the ambulance. You took 25 and put it in the highway.
Yep.
So you could just have an article that says, I want to put 100,000 into capital. I want to put 100,000 into highway.
Stabilization accounts earn interest.
Right.
Free cash does not.
Well, it doesn't
Simple as
earn
that.
nearly as much because it's in the general fund and it
Right.
doesn't earn
Yeah.
nearly as much.
Right.
as you
Can it just be put in a money market fund?
That's up to the treasurer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should. That's what I was saying, because money market's
You can move it in
5%.
and out pretty quick.
Right.
Well, it always has to be a town meeting vote.
You know,
though.
yeah,
In
that's
general,
the point.
Okay.
Town meeting. vote required.
Stabilization fund shouldn't be used to plug structural deficits. I mean, that's the general rule of thumb.
Right.
Versus free cash. So we're kind of forcing ourselves to a higher standard of discipline. When we're taking our free cash and running it way down and putting it in the stabilization funds. Because in a pinch, if something comes up, kind of, you have to have a special town meeting to move it. That's the rationale. But my thought is, if it's a big calamity like the floods we had back in July, August of 2023, we'll probably end up getting state aid anyway.
Right.
But either way, we still have to have a
Special
town meeting to
Which is
vote,
the whole
whether we
thing.
take it out of free
Right.
cash or so.
Yeah,
So ridiculous.
Let's get the interest.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the stabilization requires 2/3, simple majority. For free cash.
Only the general, the rest of it is now majority.
So can I make a motion to add that article?
Well, which one? Do you want to discuss which stabilization funds you want to put it in and how much in each? Because
I
you
think
have, I think you said you have enough in general, right? Was that agreed that you're,
We have what did I say?
338, we have
313?
338, and I think you said 317.
and that
Yeah.
was 5%.
So we have
right?
enough in general.
Yeah, so general's good.
And the highway would be where we.
The highway, yeah. But I think people are gonna, well, we just have to tell them you develop
Yeah,
interest.
well, the next 2 years, Chris, you had shared that the highway is, after this year, the highway for the next year, is like.
It's late for, the next like 2 years.
2 years.
It's late,
So I have to put money in the highway.
I do,
Yeah.
it's only 25,000.
yeah.
That isn't much. It's the second largest, category after.
Right.
Obviously being the largest.
And you don't have to put the whole 250 in either.
Oh,
I mean,
We're
you
not
could
talking about
leave-
that. I think
yeah.
we're gonna spread it around.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
But I mean, you could even leave like 20,000 in free cash or whatever,
Oh, yeah,
roll over, however you want to
Good
do it.
idea.
We should probably put some in the school too, because we
Yep.
know,
Because we're taking some out too this year.
yeah,
I'm taking out 30.
yeah.
Yeah, the boilers to replace, so I think, keeping the school lower than 300.
Yeah,
Well, it's at 350.
it'll still be above 300.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So we're good there. So definitely highway, at least 100 in highway.
I'd say, it's better than. Anyone else for finance, do you have an opinion on how much to move to the highway? I mean, I think 100 is a good minimum. 125 next year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just wonder if it's gonna get pushed back.
It's really good. There's two big highway articles. I mean,
Well, yeah, but
It's the whole
You're
argument again.
seeding, because we just started it last year, so, and you only put 25 in, 25 is not gonna buy you much.
And the next year is going to be light, so we should stock money away.
I agree.
Three.
I think it's the smart move.
Yeah.
So when we put these into these funds, all the interest accrues to that fund, correct?
No, yeah,
The balances, yeah.
there's no free cash.
Well, I thought that maybe if it was pooled, you know.
Like. Well, we keep separate, each of these stabilization funds actually are pooled, but I mean, they're accounted for.
They're
separate.
accounted for separately, that all the funds are grouped together in the
Yeah.
same investment.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah,
So it is the whole funds
Oh, yeah,
grouped together into
absolutely.
one investment, okay.
there's not like, it's different.
It would be crazy to have a different
Yeah.
account for every
Oh,
fund.
for sure.
Yep.
I mean, I want enough that we're getting interest to pay for any increases in wages and more, right?
Well, increases in wages
In town
would not be
employees.
covered through capital
No,
stabilization.
I'm saying that the interest that we receive from these accounts.
No, that goes back into the
Goes back
stabilization
in,
fund.
right.
I know, but you see
Yeah.
what I'm saying,
Still.
right? It's still that money, whatever, 50, 60,000 a year,
It goes into capital stabilization.
But it's still,
it's still
It's
money
still
the
money.
town gets, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's money the town gets,
Yeah.
but it's,
Peter, Paul, that type of stuff.
well, I mean, again, it's not money that it can't be used for operating costs.
Yeah.
That's the issue. I mean, it's
But we're not,
designated.
right, right,
Right, but you could say, okay, we're gonna pay for this article out of the stabilization because we got that extra money, which means we can.
there's leftover for
Yeah.
this.
Right, but
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with wages.
Right, no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm talking just numbers,
Oh.
right, yeah, right, not
Yeah.
where we get the. so-
well, it's a bit of a hedge against inflation, because obviously the cost of the equipment
Oh, yeah.
not going down.
Yeah. So we have 200, basically 250 to work with.
Well, 240 if we take out.
240,
for the-
right.
Okay,
oh, wait, we just got you said you just got the,
so
lights.
our plan is to like keep 20 out in free cash and then just,
It's up to you,
do we
like I
want,
said,
it doesn't even make sense to have a free cash balance, going back to Chris's question. I don't see the value.
I don't either.
the only value is for the following year, and you can't touch it until it's certified after July 1st, so.
Right,
I don't know what to say, like I said, the first year, I wasn't so cognizant of all this, and I ran it down to like
Can't touch it till
17,000.
July 1st and we have all of our town meetings in June. So what's the point in having it?
No,
You know what I
after
mean?
July 1st, you can't touch it.
Oh, yeah, okay. got it.
Yeah, between July 1st and October when it's certified for
Right.
that year, because the
Got
year has to close out and then all the, yeah. So. Anyway. So that would mean you have 140,000 left. If you do 100,000 in highway. You can leave 140,000 in free cash and know you'll have that next year. I mean, that's,
well, I'd like to put a little,
Or in the
how much
grammar.
money we're putting in the grammar school, whatever we're taking out of the grammar school, we should put back in.
30.
30 out.
Yeah,
So that's true. Why don't we just do that?
Okay.
30K there.
I just like two biggest components of our budget are grammar school and highway. And they should be they should be, you know, carrying decent balances and stabilization.
Or do we just, never mind. Like, why are we pulling out of the stabilization just to put right back in? We can just take it from free cash instead of taking it out of the stabilization.
we can do that too if you prefer. It's easier.
Let's just do that.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
It's
it
one of those
requires a simple vote, not a
Yeah.
two-thirds.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just save 10 minutes and
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that is article. blah, 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 blah.
So,
Article 7 is just gonna be from free cash
From free
instead of from
cash.
the stabilization. And Article 6 goes away.
Yes.
when do the warrants close?
Um,
Next week? Okay.
I think the 27th,
27th.
Wait, it might, no, it might be the 25.
It's on the schedule.
Yeah.
I can use.
Double check. It might be the first.
This is then Article 9, we're not putting any money towards the ambulance on this year. Just ordered a new one.
That's not on this list.
Ambulance stabilization, I have down to 3,000.
Yeah, but on Article 9, you're saying transfer
Oh,
75,000.
no, I'm saying maybe we just don't need Article 9 at all. Maybe we
Right.
don't need to put in
Oh,
money
yeah.
for the ambulance this year.
Yeah, that's
We just
fine.
bought a new one.
I just wanted it in there just for you to
Yeah.
discuss. Yep.
What's the life expectancy of the ambulance? The new ambulance?
There's a
10 years?
There's a
Yeah, I think it's
different,
about
life-
10.
there's a different life expectancy between the shelter and the vehicle.
Yeah,
So I
I
think
thought it was 15 years.
I'm not sure. The shelter should last probably closer to 20 years.
The current vehicle is 15 years.
I'm not sure we should remove anything from, I think we should have stuff in, just like with the fire truck.
What, you think we
I
should
agree.
put money in
Have
the
money.
I
ambulance?
agree.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, we know we're gonna need to replace it.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's very
You need
expensive
to-
piece of equipment. It's not going down.
25,000?
Okay, well, are we concerned that like, I mean, every year that I've been here, we put like $10,000 into OPEB and then.
And then last year and
last
this
year,
year.
and this year, it's only, I mean, is that gonna come back and bite us at some point and how soon if we're not?
The truth of the matter is, there's one town in the state that has fully funded their liability.
It's Colleen.
All the, is it Colby?
Really? Yeah, because they don't have any full-time employees.
Oh,
Oh, so they.
They have no liability.
They're like, this is easy.
So, yeah, so,
Wow.
the liability is so huge that
Yeah.
even $10,000, to be
It's not
honest, was.
You know,
not
the,
funded, but-
the Franklin Technical High School has like a $15 million OPEB liability, and they only put 10,000 in for money to cover it.
We do the same thing.
And ours is like 2.1 million.
so should we change Article 9 to 25,000?
I'm okay with that.
Article 9, 25,000, gotcha, okay.
Look at us, shuffling money.
Yeah, well, we're really good.
And then Article 10 goes from 25 to 100.
Yes,
Doesn't have any budget schedule in the warrant, but I thought it was April 20. How does that in case anything else comes up?
I think I actually put it on the website, I could look it up.
I think it's 28.
It could, it could. It's whatever that meeting is for, then I just, so, all right, so if you do that, then that leaves you with, hang on a second, you just said 25. So
It's
you've
good to
now,
be poor, fewer responsibilities.
you've now used 155 out of your 240.
okay. I mean, in all honesty, if it were me, I'd still put into more into the highway, but knowing that that's gonna be, there's gonna be some resistance.
I mean, we think these two are gonna pass the Volvo and Ram?
Well, they're free cash, so
Yeah.
again, these are all
It's
now,
just,
It's just, yeah. it's
they're
just
all
a
majority
generation.
votes, and in
Majority
all honesty, I personally, I think people understand that they agreed to create the highway stabilization
Yeah.
fund, so you might as well put money into it.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly.
200.
Well,
Well, what's coming up in 2 years?
Um,
Well, I mean, I don't know that people are gonna have a problem putting money into the stabilization fund, but I mean, then we're also asking for another, 330 for, which is coming out of free cash just for highway, so. I mean, I guess the last few votes about the highway were not as contentious as that pickleball discussion, so maybe.
Yeah, because we started doing return on investment. Now people
For
are
the trees
understanding.
in the cemetery.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. All right, so coming up.
big shout out to Kenny on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so we have. Sorry here. Ram. Here's the Ram. The Volvo, there's the Volvo. So we have the tractor and excavator coming up next year. And then after that, it's 3 more years till the other pickup is probably gonna be needed. And then another loader, and then it's again, another 3 years after the next one.
So we do have a
So
two
next
pieces
year-
But
coming up next year.
Yeah, how much is it for next year?
There's the tractor, actually both tractors. Or, I'm sorry, that's a mower.
Oh, yeah.
The mower, the tractor, and the excavator. Sorry, it's hard with this without a mouse. $364,000.
We can always get quotes, not buy a mower.
The next 2 years, 364.
Oh, wow.
And if we don't get a whole lot of free cash,
200 of that is for the following year, so next year would be 164. Potentially, that's the replacement cost, and there's trade-in values too. So we can
Yeah,
sell it
that's
back.
always-
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
so you'll have 125 going into $160-something thousand.
but the big item is the mower, which is gonna be at least 200,000
The following year,
the following year.
the following year, right? And you don't want to wipe out your entire stabilization
Right,
every year,
exactly.
so, yeah.
That's why I'm saying put more in there.
You got 85 left? If my math is correct.
Yeah,
85 if we do 200 or
No, no, no.
150.
85 if you've done 100, so you did 100 to the highway, 30. Oh, wait a minute, sorry, I take out the 30,000, adding 30K, because you just did that straight out of free cash. Wait a minute, oh my goodness, if you did that straight out of free cash. No, I still need to add it.
Yeah, you need that.
Right, yeah, okay, so, and then the 25 for the ambulance.
Yeah.
So that was 155. You had 240 left of free cash. Minus 155 is 85.
So let's do 150 in the highway.
sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so now you got
Sound good to you
35.
guys?
Okay, but what about the streetlights? Are you still taking that into?
That's why you only had 240 left, because it
Oh,
took
okay,
10
good,
grand
good,
out.
good.
Let's just keep that in free cash then.
Well, we're just talking
35.
about right now, yeah, this one, Article 10, so because
Let me
we've
get
got
back
a
to
couple
Article
of
10
hundred
is
thousand.
now
in
150.
Capital costs coming up over the next fiscal year. No, we're saying 150.
Well, and I'll redo all these numbers and make it a little clearer next for next
Yeah.
meeting.
That's free card money.
From free cash.
Do you want to leave it at 25?
100 to 150.
This one,
Yeah.
Article 10.
150.
Yeah.
Article 10 is moving up to 100, now it's 100.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the reshuffling of free cash. I think we're good there. And just leave the 34, the remainder where it's at.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, it's a lot more interest coming in.
Yeah,
So the other one, in terms of financial articles, I think they're all pretty straightforward for when you get to the vote on it. But I did want to mention for finance, I did finally stick in the back here, Article 22 for changing the bylaw.
oh, good. You already
So-
got to approve it.
It's so, yeah, it's up to you. The only thing I did was change where it sets up the terms, and it was 2 + 2 + 2 = 5.
Right.
So I just changed
right.
one word for 2, 2, and 1.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But then for you to also consider is Finance Committee shall recommend the appropriations for the town budget and capital improvements. Only because we've had so much trouble having a capital improvement committee. We don't have one right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's up to you. You don't put it in there. That's just a suggestion from somebody who's having trouble getting people to do
I
capital.
watch that to be the argument. Why are we putting this stuff in capital? We don't have.
So that's just something for you guys to think about for, when we do the review.
Are we even ready to talk about COLA? I mean, did we want to wait on negotiations or?
The 3, and 3 for their contracts.
Yeah,
And the health insurance doesn't really come into that, so it's up to you guys. If you have the numbers for the 3%, what's in this time,
I
what's in,
spoke with Larry Langford and Buckland, they're doing 2.5%.
are they?
I would
so they're
prefer to do
both
3 if we can.
same because they're already losing money because of health insurance increases.
So,
This is probably breaking even after 3%.
right, right. However, I will point out, last year, we had a really, really good year. We only had a 1.61 overall increase, which was incredible.
Yeah.
Which is why our tax bills, not just the tax rate, but the tax bills actually went down last year.
Yeah.
This year is looking at 5.51%.
Got to keep those tax bills down at the same time as that wane. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, the tax, anyway, so I looked at, we know the tax rate isn't gonna tell you whether your bill's what's gonna be, but last year was 14.28. If I've done my math correctly, I think this year it's 15.1. So I'm just pointing that out.
A lot
It's-
of people on fixed
No.
income in this town.
But as I think I showed in the omnibus, the total COLA amount was only like $25,000,
Which we can make an interest.
you know, so.
True.
It's, in
But
other
you
words,
can't move away.
I know,
but if you cut it, it's not gonna change your, a 0.5%.
No, it's
It's
not.
not gonna
It's
make
not
that
gonna
big a
make a big
difference in your
difference.
budget, so
It never
just saying.
No, no. Two big lines, highway and schools. That's it.
Yeah,
It's everything.
yeah,
Health insurance.
Well, that's,
yeah. But
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, it's not over, what's like 90% of your budget is highway and school.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
and we don't have control, we only have limited control over highway,
Yeah.
That's it.
and we have no control over schools.
Not really.
Right.
If we tried to, we'd be in dire
Oh,
position.
Yeah.
So that's up to you. If you wanna vote on a COLA tonight and say 3%,
I'm fine with that.
that's what the budget's at.
I mean, I
so-
think we don't have a final spreadsheet and budget, but
Right,
but I would say, yeah, continue working with.
Yeah,
3% COLA.
3%.
okay. Yeah, you can always.
For the select board, I will make a motion to add 3% to the cost of living adjustment.
Second.
All in
I
favor?
mean, add 3% to
Well,
it, or make it 3%.
Make it
Yeah.
3%.
Yeah.
3%.
Sorry.
3% to nothing.
You guys want to do
All
something?
right, finance committee, I make a recommendation to suggest that the town administrator use a 3% COLA.
You said it so much better.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
Anyone a second? Come on, someone's older than John Johnson. Royce second, or all in favor?
Did you
No, I
second?
said you guys second.
No,
I'll second it.
second, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well,
A lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah, right.
No, there were years we debated this.
Oh, sure.
Add in for item.
Those were back in the good old days, and health insurance increases went double digits.
Really hope Medicare for all goes through. It won't, but hope it does.
Is that, are you guys thinking? We done with this preliminary budget discussion?
You may excuse me, dinner table?
I would ask, because you're gonna provide this, all these same, okay, can you clean this up a little bit? Like, this one where it says highway stabilization, it's got a zero balance after.
Right,
the
right,
plan.
right.
Well, we know that's gonna change now, because you're gonna be adding 50,000. But I'm just saying, there's a bunch of little like inconsistencies in here, which have been confusing for the last few meetings.
Yeah.
And I think the use of red ink highly recommend that we don't use ready when we do not have a loss or a negative balance.
So like, don't do it at town meeting.
Yeah,
We'll spend more time explaining that than anything else.
Happy to make it in the black.
yeah, that definitely.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can make one bold and one bold.
When actually, you know what, this isn't the latest copy of it, I just realized of this, because I'd already put the
Okay.
article numbers in here, but I will definitely
Okay.
clean it up for you.
Now, this RTE Energy, this is just the streetlight thing you were talking about earlier?
Yep. It's an ongoing project.
It's gonna save us big bucks.
It will, and our town will look a lot better at night. A lot better, because it's kind of,
It'll be like glowing when you come down the hill.
yeah, or like flickering.
Oh, doesn't look like we're back in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Now, I hate to throw a monkey wrench in this, but just to let you all know, I still have not heard well, they haven't held the lottery for Smith Voc yet, so we may have a student going there, and that could add another 50,000 or so to the budget.
So 54,000.
Well, it depends. I have to, because I'd have to do a contract. We haven't done it for 2 years. So I do have somebody who's willing to do the driving.
Oh,
Do we know if we have at least one student who's applied for the lottery?
We have one student who's applied, so I won't know until after the 15th. So next week, I should hopefully be able to tell you whether we're
Yeah.
have more school funding to pay for.
Is the estimated $50,000, is that just tuition or is that tuition?
The tuition, they just sent me an email today that said it was at 22 something
Okay.
for tuition.
Actually, not too bad.
No, it's about the same as Franklin, right?
Yeah.
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 And
I
there's
thought it would
always
be
the-
more.
there's
So
always-
it's the transportation that's the
And
real killer.
There's always the potential, depending on who the student is, to get an agreement with parents and say, we'll pay you per mile or whatever if you transfer, you know, that there are options, but they don't always work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Thank you, finance.
Yeah.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Right.
6:52. Yeah.
Good to see the whole committee tonight.
Yeah, we're full force. tonight.
Yeah, all the Power Rangers.
No, we still have an open seat though.
No,
To all the people out there in the television
Well,
land.
if I,
We
if
need-
I don't.
It's a great way to win friends and influence
Oh,
people.
yeah.
I would be willing to
Yeah.
consider conflict.
And so next week, you want to do basically go start going through the articles? Is that-
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
Right.
Yeah.
And we only have an hour.
Oh, and we have right to farm. We gotta talk about that.
Oh, that could be, I don't see why that.
No, but the planning board has a public meeting in here at 7.
Oh.
Oh,
We'll get out of here, we'll be out of here by 7, I promise.
yeah.
Just letting you know.
No meetings in
So
between.
next week, we're
Okay,
gonna
yeah,
vote on
okay.
warrants. I'd rather wait until the warrant draft warrant period closes.
But honestly, that's your choice,
There's not enough time next week.
you know, but,
Yeah, I agree. You should wait
yeah,
until
probably-
the week when it closes.
probably not, yeah.
You never know what to come.
Yeah.
But don't forget that it's on Tuesday next week, because Monday's the holiday.
Running the marathon?
Yeah.
Yes, the marathon.
Can I ask one question before they leave?
Uh-oh.
This whole thing, involved the old chief's retirement, and there's not a lot to fund like a gift. Can we take some free cash for that?
Can we
No.
talk about
Not
this
before,
line?
no.
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why
Conway,
I didn't know if it was something I could talk about or not.
Yes, we have
Surprise.
Open meeting, I have to do
Cannot be
this.
Like the employee.
we set up
It's less than $50 a gift. It's conflict of interest.
we set up a special revenue fund for employee recognition.
Okay,
Anyone who wishes to, please donate to it.
okay,
There you go.
there's the answer.
That's where-
That we're allowed to
There's the
do.
answer. Okay, I'll donate. All right, thank you. Sorry.
And it doesn't earn interest.
Yeah.
How many years was he on the fire chief?
Oh, we're 30 something?
Almost 40 years.
Well, you worked for 4 years. Well, I don't know. I don't, you know
I
what?
went here in
Yeah.
1987 and he was fire chief in 1997.
He's been highway boss, he's been select board and fire chief.
Yeah. Yeah.
And proprietor.
He got
You got him.
Thank you, Finance.
Thank you.
Okay, so,
Sorry, Adam. Quorum over here.
Oh,
Yeah, take care.
Okay, new business? I'm not seeing anything. Items not anticipated in 48 hours, nothing on the radar there. TA update, I saw that. It was great. Is there anything you want to add about your weekend?
You know, there was something that I was gonna, and I can't think of what it is now, so I'll put it in the next one.
I'm looking at your updates.
Select board member comments, concerns?
Nope.
I'm good, no mail. No announcements, and our next meeting will be Tuesday because Monday is a holiday, so here at 6 o'clock. And with that, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
All right, you're adjourned.